everyone, Paul ISM. Welcome to part 2 of our Alpha Models 124th Audi RS4 Avant video build. So in part 1 we dealt with all our bodywork. We got it all primed, painted, carbon decal, clear coated. In part 2 we're going to basically, it's a bit of a weird build this one. There's no engine in it. It's quite basic interior, so it was a quick build. It took me a week there, so we're kind of going to get through the process a bit, stop, come back to part 3, because I ended up with too much footage to get it in one. So there's no real stop point in this. We're just going to go through to run out of time and then come back, and I'll probably just upload the videos together. We'll do them both together rather than leaving a gap of a few days. I'll upload one and then upload the other one probably the day after straight away. So there's no real point for me to go, well, we're going to get the interior done, because we're not, but we're going to get most of everything done and then assembly. Because of the assembly process of these kits, I can't do that. But yeah, 15 hours of footage for this, so I had to break her up into 2, and that's what you've got today. So there we are. So let's jump straight in and get cracking with the build. Hey everyone, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications, get notified of our latest videos, give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and leave a comment. I do read and appreciate every comment you guys and girls leave behind. I may not reply to them all, but they are all appreciated. And there's a link in the description of the video that takes you to a big long list of all handy videos and a lot of the products I use in my videos. You now have the chance to support the video content creation by using Patreon or the PayPal me link in the description down below. All the videos will always remain free to watch. This is just your chance to help support the videos. We're back with the Alpha Models Audi. We're straight in with the interior. Now this is a lot simpler kit than some of the others we've done before. There's no engine on this. It's a very simple interior. It's going to be quite a bland black interior on this. So yeah, don't expect too much. We've got a lot of parts to clean up though, including these resin discs, which we don't actually need. Because we're going to use the photo etch ones. Well, I assume that's the way you do it. That's the way I did it. We've got the wheel hubs, we've got the front grille, all the interior parts. Front grille is like a work of art. It's absolutely beautiful. If you've not seen the review, go back and have a look. And we've got lots of paw plugs to remove. So using our JLC razor saw, we're going to carefully and gently remove all the plugs themselves, and then we can sand them smooth. So this is excess resin from the pouring process that just needs gently removing. Take your time, be careful, don't slip, don't apply too much pressure, and just always make sure you're following the line you want to cut, because it's very easy to cut the wrong place. We've got some door handles. There's a few components for the interior. There are actually quite a few, and I'm just looking around to figure out things out. Beautifully moulded rear seats, and the cockpit with the partial shelf, well, the boot lid covering. And like I say, once we cut all the paw plugs off, we can sand everything. So with a 240 UMP thinning sponge, sander stick, we can sand off everything smooth. Now resin does sand really easily, so just take your time. Very easy to misshape parts and remove too much material, so test fitting like this is key to success. So 2 seats that fit in these holes, a bit weird this one. They do need a little bit of sanding to get them to fit. So I'm just taking a little bit off the edge, being careful not to hit the actual seat itself, and then just keep test fitting and test fitting until we get them to fit. And then all the other parts just need those paw plugs removing as well. So combination UMP sanders easily gets rid of that. Now we're going to put some holes in some of the parts in key places where they're not going to come through to mount these for paint. So using my little rechargeable drill, which is linked to my Amazon store in the description of the video down below, and a 0.5mm drill bit, we can easily and quickly drill some holes in there. That way we can get some cocktail sticks in there. Same with the seat and a few other parts. Anything else, we're going to keep on the sprue as such and spray it together and touch it up later if needed. And of course with resin, you are going to have to degrease it. All resin has a release agent on it because of the manufacture process. So I would recommend using something like UMP airbrush cleaner, IPA, dishwashing soap, whatever, toothbrush, cloth, whatever, just anything that can get in there and clean off all the areas. It's well worth doing, trust me, because you end up with nice clean parts all mounted ready for primer like we've got there. So in the booth we've got some black Mr. Surfacer from Mr. Hobby. It's thinned about 60% with Mr. Hobby leveling thinner, and then we'll put it through the 0.35 apex at about 16 psi, and we're going to put a couple of light coats down building it up slowly until we get a nice primer base. Now I'm going to flock the interior. Well, my girlfriend Hannah's going to flock the interior. As you know, I don't touch the flocking, otherwise it ends up in the clear coat and everywhere all over the cave. Hannah's getting very good at doing it now, so I just hand the job over to her and she does a cracking job. As we can see, a couple of coats there. We are going to paint this LP5 later to give us our leather look, but for now I just want a nice primer coat down on the burr resin. So like I say, quite a big piece for the interior. It's not the most interesting interior. It is, after all, a family saloon, estate car, station wagon at the end of the day. It is quite a luxurious interior, don't get me wrong, but it's all going to be a sea of black, so don't expect anything special from this, but we'll make the best of it that we can. The front seats are nice, look nice and comfortable. I always have this real car, they'd look a nice place to sit. There was talk about carbon in the back of them, but to be honest, I couldn't see any that were in carbon on pictures I was looking at. I'm not saying they're not, but for me, reference pictures are good. They were plastic backed, and the hassle it would have been to carbon back these in an area you'd never see in the model itself wasn't worth the time, in my opinion. Of course, you could if you wanted to. They would look really smart. But for me, like I said, it's going to be a sea of black, this thing. It's not going to be a very inspiring interior, so we're just going to go with LP5. Now, the wing mirrors, we didn't clear coat these last time. We've got a whole load of parts to clear coat. We've got the mirrors to do, we've got some calipers, wheels, and a few other bits and bobs to do. We're going to get those from Mr. Hobby super clear later. So the wing mirrors are carbon on the car, and they are on this. Now, optimistically, I thought we'll grab some of the Tamiya carbon, and we'll try and pop it on in one go. I honestly didn't hold out much hope of doing it, but I thought we'd give it a whirl. So we got it in place, made sure it was in a position where if I was successful and managed to get it all the way around, it would cover. Hit it with some ultimate strong decal solution. You'll be hard pressed to beat our decal solutions. I will put my put some money on that one. You'll be hard pressed to beat these. I've sped the footage up, and you'll see that within a couple of minutes I managed to get this to conform around all those areas. Very complex shape in one piece, in one go, with no creases, no rips, no tears, pretty perfectly. So quite impressed with this. Some good skills, good UMP solution. You just need a little bit of positioning from time to time and just a bit of gentle persuasion with the water pen brush. Now, you quite often ask why I use these water pens. I used to have the liquid in them, the decal solution, but they're not airtight, and the solutions used to use their potency over time. So I went back to using the solutions out of the bottles. But I got so used to using these brushes, they're perfect for decaling, that I kind of stuck with them. So it looks a bit odd using the pen. There's nothing in the pen, but they just work absolutely great for decaling for me. And as you can see, that decal is conforming around that wing mirror. Absolutely beautiful. Trust me, I was as shocked as well. Yeah, definitely was. And there we go, pretty much conformed in one go. So very happy with that. Just a few little final bits to get on. And yeah, pretty pleased with myself. Managed to do that. And didn't think I'd get that round there, but it did. And as you can see, it looks pretty good. Not too bad at all. Pretty clean, crease free, and ready for a clear cut later on. So obviously repeat that for the other side as well. And then the interior, we've got some Tamiya LP5. I keep my bottle pre-thinned. You see up the bottom, 0.35 apex, 16 psi again. It's thinned about 60% with Tamiya lacquer thinner with retarder. And as you can see, I'm just giving it a nice gloss black coat all over. So all the interior parts were done like that. The brake calipers we've painted red. I've actually lost the footage here. We'll get to that in a bit. I think it's a bit further ahead with the discs. My footage got a bit mixed up today. I'm not sure what happened. I did have a lot of it though. We've got some of the Audi logos to go on there. I think they're RS logos to go on the calipers, front and rear. So they're in place, popped in place with solutions as well. Like I say, yeah, a lot of my footage got a little bit mixed up today in the timeline order. So I do have the painting of the calipers a little bit further on. So bear with me today. I had about 15 hours and 38 minutes of footage to edit today, which I did in one go. So yes, might be a little bit higgledy-piggledy, but I got the best order I could. Beautiful wheels. I'm with these in GX2 gloss black. And we've got some nice decals to go on there as well, as you can see just there. So these are the Audi logos. I've zoomed in for this one so you can see it. So popped in place and then applied with UMP strong decal solution. They were set in place, and now our brakes. The discs are made up of about, was it 12 different pieces? 10 or 12 pieces of photo etch that all need doing in order. So I'm getting all the parts off and laying them out in order as for the exploded diagram explains. Cut them out, then we'll clean them up and we'll get them all assembled. So there's 4 of these to do. It looks really daunting. It's actually really easy to do. It does look like, oh my god, what is this? But basically it'll give us the look of the ventilated discs in the middle. Now, I think the Audi comes with the option of normal discs, steel discs and carbon. I've gone with carbon purely because I like the look of them. Whether it's right for the car, I don't know. But that's what I've gone with on this. So yeah, we're going to assemble one of the discs and I'll do the others off camera. As you can see, I've already done one at the top. We're going to build them up. We're going to do the main sections, the hub to go in the middle as well. But the hub's not going to be carbon coloured, it'll be sprayed a different colour. So we'll do that later on separately. So I'm on the live stream here chatting away. So that's why I sped it up. It's a good 10 minutes here doing this. So just cleaning up all the excess parts off the photo etch fret. Get rid of any excess metal parts. And then using some of the Bob Smith odorless CA glue, we can start to assemble everything. Now this little piece here slots in to the lugs on there, and then we put all these pieces lined up in the middle, so they literally line up with each other, and we just keep building it up as per the instructions until we're happy we've got the full coverage. And there we go, just keep making sure everything's straight, and we get the actual disc face on as well at the end. Like so, and there we go, there's one disc made up, and if I hold it up to the camera, you'll see building up those little sections in the middle. We'll give it the look that it's a ventilated disc, so they do work really well. Look at that, looks really good, doesn't it? Like I say, once we get these painted up, they'll look really good. And then the central hub part is this. There's about 5 parts of this as well, 4 or 5 parts. So I've just built it up here, applying the last piece. So if you get any excess glue on any metal parts, a bit of acetone, let it all dry, cotton bud, acetone, it'll take it all off. And then we're going to mount all these on some masking tape, on a tongue depressor, and spray them, primer them all together. So nice simple way of doing it. The exhaust are toyed with leaving black. A lot of them are black, but if they do have aftermarket exhausts, they are silver. So I decided to do silver for a little bit of a different look. Otherwise it would just have been a sea of black on the back end of the car and amongst the carbon. So I've painted the exhaust in GX2 gloss black, let that dry, and then we're coming with Mr. Hobby super metallic chrome to give a nice chrome exhaust look on the back. We also painted the under tray of the car in Mr. Surfacer black. This will need to be drilled and screwed later on in part 3, and then priming all these parts up in Mr. Surfacer, ready for some paint as well. It's the easiest way of doing these small parts. You get them all done together, you don't waste a lot of paint doing each individual part, which you could do should you wish, but for me this is the way that works best for me. And then our discs as well, so we're going to prime them first, Mr. Surfacer 1500. So they are photo etched, so just pay attention. Afterwards you don't scratch them, it will scratch off quite easily off metal. Just pay particular attention, and obviously because we work making that ventilated part, make sure you get right in there and get everything primed up inside as well. Look really good, these, quite impressed with them to be honest, and they even look good through the wheels later on when the car is built, so they're well worth the time doing. Here we go, escaping back in time. This is the calipers being painted red. So we've got some Zero Paint Brembo red. I've not used this colour before, funnily enough, and I thought, you know what, might as well use it today. So we're going to put 2 or 3 light coats down to give us our nice red caliper colour you saw earlier. It does cover well over white, not too bad at all. In hindsight, I would have done pink, but to be honest, I was just on autopilot and just did them white with a few other parts as well. Pink is my preferable colour for red as a primer because it covers so quick, but white will do as well. And as you can see, the coverage is quick. Obviously because we're spraying on resin, we don't need to be really careful because it won't melt anything, but if you're spraying plastic parts, make sure you put them on much thinner coats because the Zero Paint can be a little bit hot and can craze the plastic. So take your time, build it up, Don't be too much of a rush. And then our wheels, we've got some Mr. Hobby UV Cut Clear. Now this is out the spray can, decanted, 0.35 apex, 16 psi. And I'm going to put 2 or 3 light coats down to give everything that needs a gloss coat that we did in 2K a gloss coat. Now this will give a slightly less shiny gloss coat. It's still more than acceptable, and it's less thick. So I find it can be a little bit kinder on small parts, that they don't get swamped with thicker 2K. But you do need to build it up, so you need to put a tack coat down, another tack coat, then a slightly wetter coat, and then a wetter coat again to build it up. Be careful of the decals, it can melt decals. Discs, now we've got Zero Paint ceramic colour. This has got very nice metallic speckles in it. Looks quite good, I quite like the effect, and a few light coats to build it up, and they look really good. The hubs we're going to do in LP61 metallic grey. Give those a wash later. Everything else on there will be done in LP5, so we'll paint these parts, let them dry, take them off, and then paint the other parts in LP5. So there we go. Nice and simple, nice and quick. Interior, you can see there, we've got flocked already. We're going to spray our rear lights in silver. It's an LP colour. I'll be honest, I forgot which colour it was, but it's just a silver colour. And like I say, with those hubs off, we can paint all the other parts in LP5 to match the rest of our body panels as well. So there's lots of parts to paint. It's not the most comprehensive kit, but there's still lots to do to keep you entertained. As I say, this has been flocked now with flocking powder, well, flocking material. And I'm just going over the seat. I had a little bit of a chip where I knocked some of the paint off, so I was just touching it up. And I thought, while I'm here, I'll just give it another quick coat. And then the wheels. These are dried for a good few hours now, and we're going to slot the tyres on. Now, number one, these wheels are handed. The spokes where the angle is point to the back, so make sure you get the right side on the right side, basically. And the tyres are also handed as well, so make sure you get these the right way round as well. Just take your time, have a good look at everything, think of everything logically, and you shouldn't have any problem. But do make sure your clear coat dries before you put any tyres on wheels, and don't apply any pressure with your fingers, because even a freshly dried and cured clear coat can still allow fingerprints to imprint in them. So yeah, there we go. These are looking good, they're looking the part. And just a quick test fit of our hub, and I'll show you why now. This one's been glued together previously. I'm just having a look how it sits. I'm not glued the caliper in. The caliper is loose for now. You'll see why in a minute what I'm doing. I'm just checking how everything fits. Now the hubs here are, there's ones for the front and one for the back. So you need to make sure you get the correct ones. One's got a deeper lug in it for the brake caliper, as you'll see. But what I'm doing is I've got the disc in place, the calipers in place over the top of the disc, loose. And then I'm lining the hub up, having a look at everything, make sure everything lines up, and then using the wheel as kind of a guide to make sure everything's lined up properly. So that way we've got the hub, the disc, the caliper all lined up perfect. We can then gently hit it with some glue from behind. I'm looking at it in the wheel, we're just getting around the edge of the hub. Using our Bob Smiths and our precision applicators. Just get some glue around the edges where we need them, and then we'll hit that with activator and glue it in place. You can see I've already done at the top. It was just a quick test fit to see how it went. And there we go. That's that, glued in place. We'll do that with all of them, and that way we know everything is lined up perfectly and is going to sit where we want it. Rather than trying to wrestle with it on the bench, I found it easier to use the wheel as a template. Just be careful you don't get any glue on the wheel. And as you see, we take it all back off as one unit and move on to the next one. Quick test on the interior just to see how it fits in, and it does. And then we can check our wheels. So like I say, these are handed. Front and rear hubs and front and rear wheels. So, sorry, left and right wheels. You'll see what I mean when you look at pictures of the real car. There's like a spoke that angles back on the wheel that points to the back of the car, so you need to make sure you get them on the right side. Right now I'm just checking ride height, which is pretty much spot on. It rides really nice. Just a quick check all round. You get a little bit of wiggle movement in the wheels themselves, so when you glue them in place you can kind of wiggle it around to get the ride height and the camber right and what have you. It's not the best solution for attaching the wheels from Alpha models, but it works. It does work, I'll admit that. I probably would rather see them screwed in place. I think it would be doable, but hey, this does work. Interior parts, got some decals to apply now. Other than the decals and a little bit of trim on the doors, there's not really much I've done to this. Now, on the real car, there are some accent trims on it, but they're not built into the kit. So you'd have to kind of guess where they went and kind of add them. So I didn't fancy doing that. I did see a completely black interior. It did look good, and I opted to do that. So, like I say, a few decals to go in place to add a few focal points. We get all these in, usual solutions, usual way of doing it. UMP strong, get them in place, get them lined up, hit them with the solution, and leave them alone. And there we go. Like I say, it's quite a boring interior. This isn't an Italian supercar, unfortunately. It is a family car at the end of the day. It's a bloody fast family car. But it is quite a bland interior as such. And then assembling all the interior components. So with the rear heater vents glued in place. And there's an armrest to go in place as well in front of that. And then our dashboard gets its PE screen in place. Door cards have speaker grills, which we painted up earlier on. These are photo etch. So there's 2 per side. Like I say, you could add accent colours to this should you wish and have a 2-tone interior. For me, I think I just fancy black. Nice to do a black interior for a change. As you can see, the flocking looks really good. Hannah does a great job on this. And the LP5 looks good as leather. It really does look good. Be careful at this stage. It's very easy to scratch the paint off the resin. It does come off quite easily. Make sure you get the seats the right way around because you probably sanded them to fit per side. So make sure you get them the right way around. And once you're happy that they fit, we're going to hit them with glue from underneath. That way we don't get any glue coming through. Again, with the Bob Smith's odorless, just do a nice line of it, a little bead of it. These applicators are fantastic. Get right to those little gaps and just hit it with some kicker. And we can repeat that for the other side. And then the steering wheel onto the steering column. Like so. We've got a nice Audi badge for the centre of that. We're going to pop on a bit as well. Make sure you get the indicator, windscreen wiper stalks the right way up. Look at the instructions and you'll see. Glue it in place. Make sure the steering wheel's straight. Push it down. There we go. And then that nice Audi emblem for the centre. So this is a metallic reverse sticker, I suppose it is, transfer. So you cut it off, you pull the backing paper off, line it up, rub it down with a cotton bud, and then gently peel back the clear transparent film. And it should leave your decal exactly where you put it. If it didn't, put it back on, do it again. And there we go, One House Audi logo. A few dabs of glue on the actual dashboard itself, and we can attach our steering column in place and just hold it for a second or two. Don't forget the Bob Smith's is an instant grab. Well, it is. If it's skin or something you don't want to glue in place immediately, it will. If it's something you drastically need to glue in place quickly, it won't glue in. It'll keep falling off. So, yeah, it's a bit of a weird stuff, this one, but hey, it does work eventually. We've got our door handles in. They were painted the same colour as the exhaust. Must be super chrome. And then we've got our door handles, armrest, button holders, whatever you want to call them, on the doors to attach in place as well. So you just need a steady hand here, a confident, steady hand to get these glued in place and try and make a complete unholy mess of your model. If anything can make a mess of your model, it's CA glue. It is the greatest stuff in the world and the worst stuff ever. Now, the beautiful stuff of the odorless is if you're quick, you can wipe it off like I just did there. Some of the other stuff, because it's instant, it just makes a mess and destroys everything in its path. Front grille, painted LP5 now. And then we've got our Audi logos in place here. Same as our steering wheel one. Line it all up. There is a photo etch one on the kit as well, but this made more sense to go with. This thing would look mean with black Audi rings, I know. But I just wanted the little bit of colour flash on the front, because it is mostly blacked out, black and blue on the outside. I thought these might have added just a little bit of interest, and we're going to do the back badges the same anyway. So just line it up before you fully commit. Once you're happy, get a cotton bud and really give it a good burnish down, like so. There we go. And then peel it back, nice and slow. And there we go. Another logo done. Accelerator and brake pedal in place there, and then the footrest to the left as well. Hard to see them because they're black on black, but they are going in there. You can see the footrest there. A little dab of glue, a yabba dabba do, just to hold it all in. Just having a look. I'm a little bit confused, thinking, eh? And I was like, oh yeah, it's left-hand drive. It's a footrest. I was like, eh? What's going on here? Yeah, a little bit confused. So a little dab of glue, a yabba dabba do, and we can glue it in place. Like so, and then a test fit of the dashboard and the door card. So I'm going to put the dashboard in loose, put a door card in, pop the interior in, just see how it fits in, see how we go. As you see, the bodywork's looking really good. We've not polished it up yet at all, but this thing's going to look absolutely spanking when it's done. And I know because it's done and I've seen it. It looks lovely. And then we're just going to pop in our interior. Nice fitting interior this one. I'm a little bit off camera. I don't know why I'm to one side, but I am a little bit. I don't know why. But we're just test fitting for now to see how it fits. And yeah, so dashboard in separate, door cards in separate, and then all the interior with the seats all in place too. A quick late night spray here. We're doing the clear red on the rear lights using some LP clear red. And then flatten the paintwork. Here we go. We've got a 3000 grit Tamiya sponge. We've got a few dust spots in this. But it is single-handedly the best 2K job I've done for quite a while. It came out very well. We changed a few things in part 1 and it definitely paid off. Not only did it give a nicer finish, it also dried quicker. We got less dust in it. But we're going to concentrate on the dust with the 3000 sponges and go around and try our best to get rid of them. Now, I'm not completely OCD that I have to get rid of any dust spots completely. As I always say, I'd rather leave them there slightly than risk ruining the paint job. So I go over it with the 3000 till I'm happy, then hit it with the 12, then the compound, then the polish. But you can go as far as you wish. You can keep going if you wish. The problem is at some point you are going to burn through the clear and then you're back to having to re-clear it again, which isn't going to look good, or you're going to have to strip and start over. So for me, you've got to weigh up the risk sometimes. Is it worth ruining that entire model to get rid of one tiny speck of dust? Mine are not award-winning models. They're only made for videos for you guys and my entertainment. So I can accept a flaw and leave them in. So I get rid of them as much as I can. And then I'm happy to leave them. And we still get good-looking models, I think. And I still enjoyed the build process. So we've flatted it with the 3000 Tamiya and the 12,000 micro mesh, wet of course. And now we've got some UMP compound. I put about half a ton of it on there for some reason. But hey, oh well, it's on now. And we're going to go around with a nice clean cotton cloth and give it a real good buff up. Now, as with sanding, be careful on any raised areas, any corners, because they're the areas where the clear is its thinnest. And it's very easy to burn through, especially with like that 3000 sponge and this compound. So when you're near edges, go a little bit less harsh and aggressive as when you're doing the flatter sections, and just really take your time and pay attention and be wary where you are. Trust me, I've burned through many paint jobs. It's very, very easy to do. So you're going to give it a go over with the compound. Once you're happy, get a clean cloth. So I'll end up using 4 cloths here for this. 2 for application, 2 for removal, and remove all the compound you can. If you need to, you can go again and apply more. This is up to you now how far you want to push it. For me, as long as I've got rid of all those larger scratches at this stage, I know the polish will get rid of the micro scratches, and I'll more than likely be left with the finish I'm happy with. You can see there already, the shine just from the compound alone is pretty damn good. You can see the slide floors in the roof, little dust spots, which I can accept. Any excess compound, we can let it dry and get out with the toothbrush. Don't worry, we'll jet wash it out at the end with my painted airbrush jet wash technique. But for now, we're just trying to get rid of as much of the compound as we can, so we don't kind of contaminate the polished cloth next time. But like I say, if you're not happy, go over it again. But just bear in mind at some point, you will run out of clear coat and you will burn through. And like I say, we repeat this for the rest of the car as well, all around the sides, the boot, the bonnet, what have you. Just be very aware of those edges, like the bottom of the sills, the wheel arches, all those bits at the front where they're sharp, because the clear coat is significantly thinner on edges. Trust me, it is. It's surprising how quick you'll burn through. So just take your time, don't be too aggressive, and be wary of what you're doing. Once you got all the compounding done, like I say, if you want to go back and repeat, you can. We've got our polish, which is a much less aggressive finishing polish. So they both do the same job. They're both abrasive components. One's less than the other, and this is certainly a lot less. You can see it's a lot thinner. And we're going to go round and get a final polish up on everything. And this should, at this stage, get rid of any micro scratches in the finish and bring everything up to a real high shine. Now, another thing I will say here as well, be aware you are handling resin. So it will break if you hold it too tight. So again, just be aware of what you're doing. Don't be holding it with a death grip or Action Man's Kung Fu action. Just hold it steady and don't go too mad. Again, when you're applying pressure to like those A-pillars, don't be applying too much pressure. You don't need to apply a lot of pressure polishing at all. It's more the action than the pressure. Obviously, you still need to apply a bit of pressure, but don't go absolutely mental. And again, polish, remove it, repeat if necessary. But again, be aware of any edges. And yeah, when you're done, get a fresh cloth and go around and clean it all up. So as you can see, it's starting to get a real nice shine there. You can see the orange peel on the dashboard inside. That's going to get covered. We're not bothered about that at all. Everywhere else, we're good. Inside the boot, where it will be the load cover, we're going to paint that separately later to match the interior. But for now, we just need to get the body all polished up so we can mask off a few parts and then start our final assembly. So again, polish all the sides as well, and then switch over to a clean cloth once you're happy. And wipe all the excess off and then buff to a high shine. And like I said, if you find the need to repeat it, go over it again. If you need to go back to the abrasives, the 3000 and 12,000, go for it. And the compound, you can completely revisit this process should you wish. I was happy with what I've got. Now we're in the spray booth, we've got water, and for God's sake, make sure it's water you're using. The amount of times I've nearly picked up lacquer thinner, I've nearly done it. We've got our Apex 0.35, completely clean of any paint or thinners. I always spray through a complete cup of water first, and I'm using this to gently jet wash any remnants of compound and polish out of all the panel lines. It can be a bit tricky to get out of there, and I find this the best way to get rid of it out of it. Just direct it over it, go around it once, soften it with the water, and then let it soak for a second or two. Come back, jet wash it out, use the toothbrush if you need, and it's a much quicker, easier way of cleaning it all out. It really is. And to be honest, it's quite fun. It's actually quite fun to do. Just like I say, please be careful that you do pick up water and not lacquer thinner. I picked up lacquer thinner twice in the past doing this and very nearly sprayed it on. So the lacquer thinner always goes to the far left, well out of the way, while we're using the water. Once you're done at the end, you can always use your airbrush to spray off the excess water. Again, just be careful, don't scratch the body with the hairbrush. So this is empty now, we're just using air. Like the old car wash automated dryers, we're going to blow off all the water as good as we can, and it saves us any excess drying later on. But if you do notice any other remnants in there, go over it again and just repeat as necessary. But for me, as you see, I just spotted there a little bit in the antenna mount. We hit it again and we go around the overall. So like I said, it's quite fun to do this. I always enjoy this stage. It's the big kid in me, you know, messing around with spraying water. I don't know. But it's a good technique for getting rid of any remnants of polish and compound. So we dried it all off. We'll give it a good buff up as well. And just look at that shine. She's beautiful. Really is a beautiful colour. Now the colour is darker than this. You'll see what I mean at the end. The camera does lighten it a little bit. It is a bit darker than this. You'll see it in my photos at the end. This is not what my eye sees, but I'm happy with that 2K. It's beautiful. It's come out really well. Like I say, it's not perfect. There are a few flaws in it, but it's one of the best I've done for a while. It's polished up, absolutely beautiful. With our carbon accents, it looks absolutely spectacular. And this thing's going to look good when it's finished. Yep, really looking forward to finishing this off. Like I say, I built this in a week from start to finish. But this is where we're going to leave this video for now, because I had way too much footage and had to break it into 2. So this is where we're going to say adieu, and we're going to pop back to me for some final thoughts. Bye. Right then, there we go. So that's where we're at today. Like I say, we ended up with an hour's worth of footage here, so I had to split it into 2 videos. So it's kind of weird cut-off point where I'd normally be like, well, there's the interior done. We've not done that today. So as I said, we'll upload this one. A day later, I'll just upload the other. I would have done it as 1 video, but I think an hour is too long for 1 video. So split it up, and hopefully you can appreciate what I had to do. Like I said, it was a quick build, a week, Saturday to Saturday, job done. And yeah, you'll see the finished result in part 3 very, very soon. There we are. So not much else to say today, other than thanks for watching. And if you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon me, PayPal me, and a Buy Me Coffee link down below. And all the links for everything affiliated with ISM and myself are down there as well. The Facebook page, forum, Starring and Machine. If you've enjoyed my new group, come and join it. And there's also all the group build page, Off Air Hangout, Live at the Bench, my scale mates, the affiliate link, and my products I use link with all the products I use in my videos. No question for today. I'll save it for part 3. But make sure you give the video a thumbs up, click subscribe, hit the bell notification, and leave a comment if you're watching as well. Like I say, a bit of a higgledy-piggledy video because I didn't want 2, but we've got 2. But we'll be back straight away with part 3. So stay tuned and please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the build so far.